Hello, good morning, beautiful people. So, today I'm making the first video of my new YouTube channel called Lazy Man's Guide to Wealth. And since this is the very first video that I'm making, I thought I might as well get into the story of why or how I decided to start this channel and probably get a little bit into what I plan to do with it over the next few months and years or whatever, I don't know. But as the title of the channel suggests, Lazy Man's Guide to Wealth, well, I myself am somewhat lazy in life. So I hope I can do a bunch of things. But, anyways, first let's jump right into the story. Alright, cool. So, ever since I was a little boy, I remember hating school. It was one of the worst places for me to be in. I mean, it was basically too much authority from teachers, which I couldn't really enjoy so much in my life. Apart from that, there was also this lack of freedom, basically, where, yeah, I just didn't like it, man. Sucked. Uh, yeah. But then, as a child, like, we don't really have so much freedom in our lives. So, yeah, I mean, like, I had to go to school, unfortunately. In fact, I did more than that. I even went to college and I did my MBA as well. Yeah, quite a bit. I wish I had dropped out much sooner. But, anyways, coming back to the story. Yes. So, I knew I hated school. That was for sure. Right. And, but when I was kind of still going to school, I had no yardstick to think about, you know, where I stand in life. Because, so I was mostly studying in army schools because my dad was in the army. But usually my performance would be like out of 5 or 6 sections in the class. I mean, in any given class, like I would be in like maybe one of those sections, and in that, out of like 40 students, I would rank like maybe 24th or 25th in class. So I had no reason to be like super confident on my abilities in life or something like that. But then, as time progressed, yeah, like, finally it was time to do higher studies. And I had like no idea because, like, people would ask me, parents mainly, and then, it's like uncles and aunties, like, beta, tum bade hoke kya banna chahte ho? And I had no freaking idea, like, what do I want to do when I grow up in life? Because I don't know what adults are doing. And I mean, at that time, I didn't know. And I had no idea. So, but the only thing I did kind of figure out in life was that I kind of like being happy. And yeah, that's what I want to do in life. I mean, I don't really care what I'm doing, basically. Like, I mean, if I'm a happy bus driver, then so be it. Like, that's what I would do. But I just want to be like happy in life, and that's what I kind of thought to myself. But then my dad thought a few more things, and then he was like, "You're going to do engineering." And he had some ideas for me. He thought I should go to IIT. So I ended up doing some coaching, but then I did not go to IIT. Well, I went to NIT Warangal instead. So yeah, my parents are a bit disappointed in that, but well, no worries. Uh, but at this time, like when I went to engineering, this was pretty much the first time when I actually experienced freedom in life. It's like I finally got to leave home, and wow, life was beautiful. Like, I could do whatever I wanted to do in life. And at that point in my life, like, what I wanted to do was basically playing Dota all the time. It's like I loved playing video games when I was in college. Right. But at the same time, I also did figure out that I kind of have to do something to make money, because like I could see my trajectory of my life, which is that yeah, I'm not really studying anything. I'm not doing any engineering related stuff, basically, right? And I understood one thing from my childhood, that man, I don't want to be financially dependent on my parents because they would like screw me basically and then give. But yeah, either ways, uh, so that's when I kind of found this book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles when I was in the second year of my engineering. And well, truly, I feel immensely grateful to this person who lived more than 100 years ago, Wallace D. Wattles, for having deeply transformed my life. It's like truly uh, can't be grateful enough to this wonderful being. Yeah, and then my life was a bit more standard for a few years. Like my first job was with this company called Verity, where I mean it was a subsidiary of UBS. I was kind of doing some investment banking stuff. That's when I kind of realized that fuck man, it's like the financial world is a scam. Yeah, but then anyways, fast forward a little bit more time, like I kind of yeah realized like even this job stuff is like not really working out for me because like I would go to office and like within a few weeks I kind of started to like think to myself that man, this can't be life. Like I cannot see myself doing this stuff for the rest of my life. Like this is just soul draining stuff, right? But then it while I did figure out this thing in a couple of weeks that this is not what I want to be doing in life, it took me another 12 months to actually gather the courage to actually quit my job. And finally, when I did quit my job, I did not really quit to go get another job. I was just quitting, right? And this was quite a difficult decision for me. Like, this was the first challenging, difficult decision of sorts. And because, like, I had no, like, I didn't really have any reason to have so much faith and confidence in myself. It's like कि भाई जीवन में ऐसा क्या उखाड़ा है, right? कि engineering तो कर ली ठीक है भाई, but like there's so many people who have done, like our country is full of freaking engineers, right? And I have just like 1 year of work ex and I'm quitting my job for what? I don't know, like just to explore life. But then I did that anyways. It's like I finally did quit my job, and that is when I started to have some of the most beautiful experiences of my life. Like life really started when I kind of took this leap and moved beyond my fear of sorts. And yeah, fast forward a few more years, like when, like, not few years actually, it's like the next year. Well, while I was having a wonderful time, like I ended up going to a community close to Bhopal, in like close to a small village called Barkheda. And while I was doing that, and I was having one of the best times of my life, it's uh, like I did not even think about this place too much. It just happened. Another story I will tell you another time of how I ended up going to this place and stuff. But then when I was there, like there was no electricity. There was just like one solar panel and one light, and at night it used to get like super dark. And like we used to sleep on a charpai outside. And I mean, I was looking at so many stars in the sky every night when I go to sleep. It was one of the most beautiful experiences that I was having. And also at that time, I ended up starting to teach some of the children from the village nearby who used to come. And I used to wake up like 5:30 in the morning, like super excited, that कि आज बच्चे आएंगे, उन्हें क्या पढ़ाएंगे, and what am I going to teach them, and how am I going to do it, and all of that stuff, right? And but while I was having, but also I was not really earning any money at this point in time, because this place that I was in was sort of working on like a gift economy model, right? And yeah, so while I was having one of the best times of my life, my parents were like freaking out कि हमारा बच्चा पागल हो गया है, like what the hell man, he's quit his job, and then he's like gone off to some random place, not earning any money, like freaking left his career and shit, right? But yeah, fast forward a bit more after a lot of emo, senti things and stuff. Yeah, I ended up joining MDI to do my MBA, and after that, uh, I started working for Pepsi. Right, I know, not the best choice in life, but yeah, that's what I was doing for a little while. And but quitting Pepsi for me was like a very easy decision to do because like by this time I had already sort of figured out that like I can actually thrive in life, and I don't need to be dependent on this old model of like career and all of that stuff. It's like, because I knew that I can find a place where I can have a beautiful, wonderful experience for sure, right? And then like eventually I started working for this company called Focus Adventure, where I was doing like corporate training workshops and things like that. And fast forward a little bit more, I was I moved to Goa, and then I started hosting people to stay for free in my house, and while I was living in Goa, I met some really wonderful people, like epically talented people, like they had such amazing like musical abilities, artistic abilities, that when I was living in Goa, I would feel like, man, fuck, maybe I'm like retarded, or is somewhat in it's like lacking a few skills in life. Yeah, but then it was really great living over there. And while I was hosting travelers to stay for free in my house, uh, one of them eventually, again, like there's super long stories in my life. I'll probably get into all of these stories one by one over time in different videos. But yeah, it's like one of them ended up moving to the mountains, and then he told me to come check out this place. And yeah, and that's when I finally came to this village called Kukal. And it's like truly one of the most beautiful places that I have ever been to, right? And that's when I decided that, okay, man, it's like I'm just gonna shift here. That's when I went back to Goa, uh, packed my bags, bid goodbye to my landlord in Goa, and then I moved to the mountains in the end of 2018, right? And at that time, we started living like a very, very simple life. It's like we just, like, there were four of us who were there. We built a super simple, small mud house, stone and mud house. The mud from the land, and the stones also, from the land pretty much, right? And yeah, and then yeah, we were basically just living life, doing the things that we wanted to do, things that we thought we would enjoy doing. And yeah, while I was doing that, like there were people who would come visit and kind of stay with us for a couple of days. And what I realized was that we were having a enormous impact on anyone who would come and visit us, right? And this was like really crazy. It was like the kind of impact we were having. Like people would come stay with us for like 2 days, 3 days, and they would say, like, they would feel completely transformed. And that's when I realized that actually, apparently, in our world right now, the thing that's lacking the most is people just living life, like, which is to be doing the things that you really feel like you want to do yourself. Rather, I feel like most people are sort of caught in this trap of doing something they think they're supposed to be doing, like living somebody else's life, sort of like some obligation from parents or society or some bullshit like that. Yeah. So anyways, that's what happened. And so we started having like this huge impact on whoever would come. And through a series of events, we ended up starting a decentralized community, right? And I will also go into this concept of a decentralized community probably more in detail in some of the future videos. Well, but the idea is like very simple, you know. It's like because I've been part of a few community projects, and what I figured was that people have issues with people, right? Like you can't just take a bunch of people and then put them in like a beautiful place and then expect everything to be like sunshine and rainbows. You know, it's not really going to happen, right? And this clarity sort of came to me from one of my favorite books in life, which is called The Handbook to Higher Consciousness. Like I will go into much detail on this book as well in one of the future videos. But yeah, so we ended up creating this decentralized community where the idea is like we just want to connect nice people with other nice people, basically, you know. And it's got nothing to do with like physical location. It's not like, okay, like, you know, 100 people get together and then buy like 100 acres together. No, it's like it's more like, hey, if you and me are like deeply connected, and if I have a bicycle and you have, I don't know, a bike maybe, you know, and if we feel like sharing it with each others, then now we have that, you know. It's like we can share it and life's kind of easier. And that way is like, you know, when we go, we have like nice people all around the place. Yeah. So that's how we ended up sort of starting this decentralized community. But then uh, as I was meeting all these wonderful, beautiful people, I kind of came across the biggest bottleneck that most of these people were facing, which was financial, right? Which is, I was meeting some amazing, wonderful people, but almost all of them stuck financially. You know, it's like this seemed to be the common theme, the common problem in their life, right? So eventually, to try and address that problem, like last year, I thought, okay, we can like try and start a decentralized company. So I called it like GEC, right? And the idea was like, hey, can we just you know, create like multiple streams of income or revenues so that we can sustain and support like more people, right? But then while I was doing that, I figured like the biggest bottleneck that I experienced last year when I was trying this project was most people unfortunately are stuck with an employee mindset, even if they're like really sweet, wonderful people, right? And that's a huge problem because uh, yeah, I didn't want to be in a position where I like manage people or tell them what to do and things like that. Like I wanted to be in a position where yeah, I can just be free, and you know, it's like create a space where we can have like a network of entrepreneurs, right? Where a bunch of people who have a bunch of skill sets can come together and assist each others and then generate value for each others and for the world, right? I didn't want to be like a manager or something like that. So yeah, but this was like this huge problem that I noticed last year. And then finally this year, right, I figured like maybe the way to solve that problem is rather than working on a company, like we work directly with people's minds, right? And so I started wealth coaching this year, right? And the idea is very simple, you know. It's like how can we upgrade minds? Because uh, I upgraded my mind with a bunch of books that I read, and they had a huge influence on my life. And yeah, I just wanted to like share the same thing with a bunch of people. And as I started to do that, like I experienced really good results. You know, it's like some of the people around me, I could see that they started to benefit quite immensely, right? And so yeah, one thing led to the other, and finally now I have decided to start this YouTube channel called Lazy Man's Guide to Wealth, where hopefully over the next how many ever months and years or whatever, I hope to share good ideas with all of you, and I hope maybe some of these ideas benefit you guys. Yeah, that's the broad plan for this channel.